Hey guys, welcome to the Moviegoer Lobby. I'm your host Manny. Hello, and today I'm going to review Marvel's newest installment in the MCU, Ant-Man. Now, this being Marvel's 12th movie in the MCU, the big question is, does this movie work? Is it entertaining? Is it fun? And the short answer is yes. This movie is consistently great. So, Paul Rudd plays Scott Lang, an expert thief with a criminal record, who is then hired by Michael Douglas as Hank Pym to break into a place and steal some stuff using a suit known as the Ant-Man suit. This movie is a lot of fun. There is humor throughout that is very entertaining. Everyone has these nice moments of laughter. Michael Pena, as Scott Lang's friend, is a standout. All of his scenes were hilarious. Every scene. I've seen this movie twice, and even the second time, I was laughing just as hard as the first time. And the casting in this movie is really good. Paul Rudd plays an excellent Scott Lang. He plays a more relatable superhero than what we've seen in past Marvel films. And Michael Douglas is outstanding as Hank Pym. He's so funny, and yet at the same time can be so serious, and does great acting throughout. Michael Pena, as I said before, was hilarious, and Evangelina Lilly, I think that's how you pronounce her name, plays a great Hope Pym, I guess is what Hope Pym, who daughter of Hank Pym, obviously. She's also really great in the movie. The action in this movie is really entertaining. One gripe I have is that I would have liked some of the minor fights with Ant-Man versus some like guards to be shot a little bit more like the end action scene was shot, because the end action scene was so entertaining. Whereas Yellow Jacket versus Ant-Man, the camera just follows them from shrinking and growing big, and just the comedy that's mixed in between this great action. Where if you've seen the trailer, you know the scenes where they're fighting on the train set. It's so funny, but at the same time so engaging and so fun to watch. So fun because it's just entertaining and it's just humorous. There's a lot of funny moments in it, and it's just all mixed in really well. There is also another fight scene between Ant-Man and someone else that's about halfway through the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but for those who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and that scene was also a lot of fun. The feel of this movie is also really unique in that it's a really small film, which is really different compared to coming right after Avengers Age of Ultron, which is this huge film with all these characters, all this action, and these huge risks. I mean, the whole world is at stake in Avengers Age of Ultron, and this one is really small compared to that, which is ironic being an Ant-Man film, but that's just how it is. This film isn't your typical superhero movie. It's more of a heist movie with a superhero playing the captain of the heist team, or, you know, whatever. Where Ant-Man has to break into a place and steal some stuff, which is great, and I love that feel because it separates itself from the others. This movie was able to take its ridiculous source material of a man who shrinks into a small ant, the size of an ant, and still make this movie really fun and really engaging. That's why I really like this film. But there are some problems with this film. A few of the side characters, the two friends that are with Michael Pena and Paul Rudd, feel a bit too cartoonish. They're not in the movie that much, which is why it's not that big of a deal for me, but still it was a little distracting compared to the others. Their jokes just didn't mix in as well as the others as I would have liked. And once again, being a Marvel film, the villain was pretty weak. I have to say, he just wasn't a standout. He's not, you know, when I'm having a conversation with my friends, I'm not going to think back to the best Marvel villain being Yellow Jacket, because he really wasn't that great of a villain. He played the cliche bad guy, the business bad guy who's just in it for the money, and you don't really get to understand where he's coming from. He just starts off being the bad guy that wants to do bad things because he gets money from it. And it's just not that engaging. I would have liked a better, more fleshed out backstory with him. They do mention some scenes of him being the apprentice of Hank Pym, but I would have liked to see that more and see him start as this good guy who just wants to impress Hank Pym to slowly turning into the bad guy that we see him in the start of the film. So apart from the weak side characters and really weak villain, I would have to say that this movie is still really, really good. And if you haven't seen it yet, seriously, and you're a big fan of superhero films, go see this movie, even if you're not. My mom, who doesn't really like superhero films that much, she went to this movie and she loved it. So seriously, guys, check this out, because I'm giving Ant-Man a B+. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this movie in the comments below, and you should look out for my next video, where I'm going to be ranking every single Marvel movie in the MCU, from the Incredible Hulk to Ant-Man. I have the list down. I'm going to work on that video next. That'll come up next. But before I end the video, spoiler alert now, I'm going to be talking about the end credit scenes of Ant-Man. So, spoiler alert, because these are pretty cool. So there are 2 end credit scenes. In the first one, we get to find out that Evangelina Lilly's character will become Wasp later in the films. They've been working on a prototype costume, and she will be Wasp in the films. They've even talked about it. They've made it official. Wasp is going to be in the films. Now, which film she starts off in, we don't really know. I'm hoping it's going to be Civil War. I think Evangelina Lilly's going to do a great job playing as Wasp, and I'm super excited to see Wasp in the MCU. So the last end credit scene, we see a sneak peek of Civil War. We see Captain America and Falcon talking while the Winter Soldier is trapped, and they mention bringing in Ant-Man, which is going to be really cool, and I'm really excited to see how Paul Rudd's character is going to play out with these other characters and the back and forth they're going to have. The scene also has a bit of a darker tone, and I know that they like to do that when they tease Marvel movies, and then they all end up being just funny, fun films. But this one did have a really dark tone, which would make sense with the story. You know, the Civil War, 2 sides of Marvel fighting each other, isn't really a lighthearted story. So this is going to be unique, and I kind of hope they do, at least for this film, a little bit darker. And I don't want it to be like DC dark, because that's just not what Marvel is. But if you're telling this story, you might want to go a little darker than what you have before. But it got me really excited. I can't wait for Civil War, because this is pretty much Avengers 2.5. So guys, thank you for watching this video. If you want to hit that subscribe button, or that like button, or both, you know, share it, do whatever you want. And keep an eye out for my video ranking all the Marvel films that will be coming up next. I'll be working on that. Thanks guys. This has been the Moviegoer Lobby. I'm your host Manny.